Hello everyone, my name is Miss Foote. Today we'll be working on the floating egg experiment. If you're wondering why we're doing the floating egg experiment, as in the classroom we have spoke about density. Also with this project, you can work on this in grade levels K through 4th grade, or even if you have a little preschool at home, you can also do this project. I'm going to talk about a few things real fast. First off, this subject is physical science. And this is something that you can do at home with simple materials. But before I get into that, I want to mention one more thing. If you are doing this in a classroom, as you can see, I'm not in a classroom, but if I was, this is how I would do this. So at first you would have my students create a hypothesis. Now if you don't know what a hypothesis is, it's a statement where you're taking an estimated guess as to what you think will happen when doing an experiment. As I mentioned, we're doing the floating egg experiment. So a hypothesis that you could talk about would be like, okay, I'm back. So when it comes to this experiment, the hypothesis that you can ask will be, will increasing the density of water by adding salt affect buoyancy? Now, you may be wondering what buoyancy is. Buoyancy is a tendency for an object to float or sink. Now, today I do have help, and the question that she will ask is, do you think the egg will sink in a solution of added to salt water? Meaning, we're going to use plain water and make it into salt water. Do you think the egg will sink or float?
I think that it will float.
As you heard her say, she said she thinks the egg will float. We are actually going to find out soon. So, first off, let me give you a definition of density. Density is a degree of compactness of a substance, and also the objective would be students will be able to understand density, and the fact is that they are going to see if the egg will sink or float. When it comes to density, it'll be the mass per volume unit, and the students will also be able to see if the item will sink or float in water that we turned into salt water. So the solution that we are using is salt to make the salt water. The short-term goal would be if the egg will sink or float. I'm going to show you our materials, because I got to show the materials so fast. Huh? Okay, hold on, one second. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera. Do you want to?
Yeah, I do. Sure.
Okay. Tell me when you...
Okay, so I put the eggs in. Do I put the water or eggs?
Salt water. You're going to pour the water first, and then we're going to make the salt.
Okay.
You're going to do all of it.
Okay, so water, salt, no salt.
Yes,
egg,
I'll walk you through it. Because he said I got to pretend like I'm walking you through the steps.
Okay, so do I like...
No, not yet. I'll do
No,
it.
but I'm saying like which side? This one or this one?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Wait, hold on, I gotta move the chair, sorry. Cause like I need to make sure you're in it, but also I need to make sure we're in the video. Hold on. Are you ready?
So I put the water in first, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. Like,
okay.
Pretend like you don't know what you're doing. You ready? Alright. Wait, hold on. Let me film. I'm 4 minutes, so I'm just gonna keep rambling.
Okay.
Okay. I got this. I'm gonna just say. So as you can see, the hypothesis was, will adding solution to water make the egg float or sink? So as you can see, we added salt water to the plain water in the clear bowl that I used for this experiment. As I said, you do need something clear glasses. And you see that my student stirred it for about maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Just a quick little stir. You want all the salt to dissolve at the bottom before you place the egg in. But she said, I think the egg will float. And as you can see in the experiment, that the egg that was dissolved in the salt, that was placed in the salt water, as the salt dissolved, the egg floated in the salt water. That is because salt water, the salt water increased the density of the egg floating to the top, as to where in the plain water, without salt, decreased the density, meaning that in the plain water, the egg floated to the bottom. Now, like I said, you can do this experiment anywhere at home with your children. Now, in a classroom, as you can see, you can do this in a classroom as well. As a future teacher, I would say that this experiment was a great one to do. I know many students do this experiment, and I also want to say that the reason as I mentioned, our results came out. The best materials to use, I would say, is definitely table salt. That is definitely what helped with this experiment. Not too much stirring. And if you're like, oh, what about the mess? What about the mess afterwards, or table salt? What you can do is you can have anything. You can have like a blanket, a towel on the floor in case salt spills. It's just salt, people. And as you can see, this experiment did not take long to do, but also, if you are interested in doing more experiments like this with your children, you can. And like I mentioned, the grade level for me would be kindergarten. But you can do this with as I mentioned before, any grade level can do this experiment. And come back for my next video, as I will do another experiment called the magic milk experiment. And I also want to say thank you for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed my floating egg experiment. If you don't remember the definition, buoyancy is a tendency to see if an object floats. Density is a mass per volume union, as in the compactness of a substance. And like I said, we were working on this in the classroom. We were so excited. I hope my students enjoyed this video. Again, I am Ms. Foote, and I will tell you the materials one more time. The materials are 2 cups of plain water, salt, table salt, 2 eggs, a measuring cup as a tablespoon. You can use 2 to 3 tablespoons. As you can see, I use 3 tablespoons. And first, you are going to pour the water into both bowls or cups. Again, clear cups, because you want to see this. You want to see if it's actually working, and you want to see your eggs. Make sure your eggs are raw, not cooked. I use raw eggs. And I will also like to state that once you start to experiment, remember, think of your hypothesis. If you're looking for one, will adding solution to water impact the density? Like, will the solution make the eggs sink or float? Question: will the eggs sink or float using solution? Solution is the salt. You can say, I think the egg will sink or float. As you heard, my student said she thinks the egg will float, and her hypothesis and the question were both answered in the results of the video, to show you that, yes, when adding salt to water, the density increased it, meaning the egg did float. And as you can see, in the plain water, the egg floated to the bottom. Have a great day. Thanks again.